Have you ever wondered about the current state of the American economy? At present, the economy is grappling with a crisis. The main culprits? The ongoing pandemic and its ripple effects on jobs and businesses across the nation. The pandemic's impact is vast and varied, disrupting sectors from retail to real estate, technology to tourism. This disruption is not just a domestic issue, it's a global concern. Take, for instance, Argentina, where economists have forecasted an eye-watering inflation rate of 95% for this year alone, exacerbated by the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Closer to home, Federal Reserve officials like New York Fed President John Williams are cautious, stating that the U.S. economy is recovering, but not yet at full strength. Over 7 million jobs have yet to be reinstated compared to pre-pandemic levels. This complex web of factors has led to a significant rise in inflation. Inflation, in its simplest form, is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and subsequently purchasing power is falling. But how does this all tie into the current crisis? So the question arises, what exactly is inflation and how does it play into this economic crisis? Inflation might sound like a complex concept, but it's actually quite simple. At its core, inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising. It's like a tide that lifts all prices, from your morning coffee to your new car. Now, how do we measure inflation? The most common method is through the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. This measures the average change in prices paid by urban consumers for a market basket of consumer goods and services. So when the CPI increases, we say that inflation is rising. But what does inflation mean for you and me? Well, it means that the cost of living goes up. Your dollar doesn't stretch as far as it used to. That coffee you love, it costs more. Your monthly rent, it goes up too. And what role does inflation play in economic crises? Well, high inflation can lead to economic instability. It erodes purchasing power, which can lead to decreased demand for goods and services. This can then result in slowed economic growth or even a recession. With this understanding of inflation and the economic crisis, we can begin to see how it impacts our day-to-day lives. How does this economic crisis affect you and me? Let's delve into that. The economic crisis and inflation have a profound impact on our everyday lives. From the price of groceries skyrocketing to the cost of gas reaching new heights, we're all feeling the pinch. The cost of living is steadily increasing, and our wallets are bearing the brunt. But it doesn't stop there. The job market is also taking a hit. As businesses struggle to cope with the rising costs, they're forced to make tough decisions. Layoffs, wage freezes, and reduced hours have become a harsh reality for many. And then there's the overall economic stability. When inflation spirals, it can lead to economic stagnation. Businesses hesitate to invest, and consumers cut back on spending. This could potentially lead to an economic slowdown, which is a worrying prospect for all of us. These impacts are indeed concerning, but knowledge is power. Understanding the situation can help us navigate these challenging times. So, we've covered quite a bit about the American economic crisis and inflation. We've talked about the current economic situation, which, as we've seen, is a result of various factors including the global pandemic and international conflicts. We've also delved into the concept of inflation, a term that might sound intimidating but is simply the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising. A key point we've discussed is how these economic factors directly impact our daily lives. From the price we pay for our groceries to the value of our savings, these seemingly abstract concepts have tangible effects on our everyday existence. But it's not all doom and gloom. We've also discussed the potential benefits of investing during these times. By understanding the economic landscape and being strategic with our finances, we can turn these challenges into opportunities. Remember, the more we understand about our economy, the better equipped we are to make informed decisions and weather these economic storms.